Guys, this is Aaron, and Aaron's got a story to tell you. Aaron's now 37. He became homeless at the age of 19, you said, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Explain to us what happened, Aaron.
Obviously, my mum was a liar and there was stuff hidden in the family. And finally, when I figured out what was going on, my mum decided it was time to cut one son out of the tree.
Okay.
So basically, she's coming from a branch and dropping from a very long, deep height.
Okay.
And then just basically kicked me out.
Explain to me. You were living in with your mum at the age of 19. She tells you pack your bags.
Yeah, it's because I couldn't pay rent to her. My mum's a very money-orientated woman. She's a very self-centered, greedy woman. Okay. And I found out, obviously, when I was born, I wasn't the son she wanted. So she actually tried to kill me off twice by turning off the incubator that I was in.
Oh my God. How did you find yourself when you were 19 years of age? Yeah, I assume you packed some bags and you left home. What did you do?
I didn't pack any bags. I just had what I had on my back and £2 in my pocket.
And £2 in your pocket? Yeah. So what did you do then? Where did you go?
I walked around for a bit. I sat on the canal because I always find the canal to be one of the most peacefulest places for me. Okay. Human trafficked as animals. Yeah. And I sat down and tried to think, why is life turned out this way? And basically, I thought to myself, there's no point trying to deal with the situation I'm in, just survive. Okay. So, luckily enough, the survival skills that I learned took effect.
Where did you grow up?
Originally, I was born in 1982 in a NATO Commonwealth base in Germany, Paderborn. Okay. And
when you say that you had some survival skills, what do you mean by that? Explain that a little bit.
The army trained us when we were 5 upwards. We went to what was known as an army academy. Okay. So basically, you don't do your simple English, your maths and stuff there. You do everything. Okay. Which is training, hand-to-hand combat with other children to make you tough, survival skills and stuff like that. Okay. So you're sitting on this canal. Yeah. Right.
What's going through your head as a 19-year-old?
Crap. Hell, what the hell is going on? And then finally it just comes to me, no matter what, I've got to make the best of this. So I first tried to get into hostels because I had no paperwork, no ID, nothing. I couldn't get anywhere. So on the night time, I remembered when I was a little boy that I built a tree house. So I obviously built a tree house and realised in the tree there's a factory next to me. Okay. So I started...
so you were straight away in mixed emotion and thinking shelter.
Yeah. I have to get out of the elements and stuff like that. So I built the tree house, realised I can connect wiring to the electric pipes for the water and that, and bring it across. So basically I realised I could use the stuff the factory had and run it through the tree house. So basically I was able to have a hot plate heating and water.
So let me understand this. You've got some sort of makeshift shelter. Yeah. And then you've decided to steal somebody else's electric. You've got to do what you've got to do when you're surviving.
Yeah, I borrowed.
Yeah, you borrowed, okay.
Because obviously they pay a monthly thing and they ain't going to notice a couple of kilowatts a night. Okay.
All right. Then what did you do? What did you wanted this electric to do what with?
To cook.
To cook. Okay. So you had then what, a hot plate or something?
I found saucepans and stuff like that. I cleaned them. Yeah. And things like that. And basically I started hunting. Okay.
When you say hunting, you're right next to a canal here. Yeah. You mean fishing?
Fishing, rabbit hunting and bird hunting. Wood pigeons, basically.
Okay. And how did you get on with that?
It was because we had to survive a simple thing anyway for 3 days in the army base. We had to survive out in the elements. It sort of became second nature.
Right. Okay. So you did this for a year and a half. Then what happened?
Finally, my uncle's gay friend managed to get me into the Salvation Army because my uncle had acquired documents from my mother, and that allowing me then to get into a hostel. So the first hostel I went in was the original Salvation Army on Booth Street.
Okay, all right. And how did you get on with that hostel? What was it like in there?
I met my first girlfriend in there. Okay. Who worked there. Yeah. So my stepdad offered me to come and move in with him. So I moved from there to the focus foyer for a couple of months and then moved in with my stepdad. I went out with my girlfriend for a couple of years. My mum decided in her great wisdom, I want you to come back. And obviously, like me and Max at that time, we split up. I got with the new woman, she got pregnant. My mum caused a massive uproar. And the girl just disappeared before I even had a chance to see my son born. The last thing I seen of him was a scan image.
Right. Okay. Then how did life go on?
From there, it was like I stayed with my mum for a bit, and then things went downhill. And again, I ended up on the street. But because I
you moved back in with your mum then for a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Then back out again.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this time I was able to get into a hostel because this time I was a little bit more prepared.
Okay, yeah.
So I took my documents and I packed my bag and stuff that I need this time.
And how was that hostel?
What, Salvation Army?
Yeah, no, the one after you moved out from your mum's again.
It was a shared house. And obviously it was a poor condition place, no support, but it's a roof over your head at the end of the day.
Yeah. What was the conditions like in this?
Basically, he brought the house, hadn't done any work to it, he just turned it into rooms and that.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you ever had hot water.
Oh, that bad?
Yeah. But you know, you can guarantee he would appear every day you get paid money, rent, service charge.
Yeah.
That's all he ever heard out of his mouth.
Right. Okay.
He had people working in his shop who, if they didn't pay their rent for 1 week, he'd make them work in the shop for 3 days for nothing.
My God.
He'd batter his residents and things like that.
It's not a very nice, this just seemed like a very nice landlord.
Street, if you move in there, you have to hand over your bank card and your post office card, and his group of people will take you to get your money out, and they'll take what they're owed, and then give you back with your money, what's left of your money with your card.
Right. A lot of landlords, this is obviously a lucrative business.
Yeah.
A lot of landlords just want your money and see you later.
Yeah.
Whereas when you sign that contract with them, they are actually promising you support and a structure in place that will better you.
Everything else, but you know, half of this is just a joke for the job centre.
Got it. Okay. So they're trying to just tick the necessary boxes, aren't they?
To get the highest amount they can get paid a month.
Understood.
And then they will charge you to the hell and back on service charges.
Okay. How are you getting on with these guys?
As I moved in with them originally last year, I get on quite well with them.
Okay.
I'm like, in a sense of I'm like part of the furniture in the office at times.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's alright.
I'll come in, I'll have a coffee, I'll do what I've got to do.
One of the boys.
And like, I get on well with the staff. My support workers are mainly Suresh and Sophie.
Okay. Well, when you say support workers, what do they support you with?
Everything I need.
Everything and anything.
Okay. Job centre, probation, anything to do with doctors and stuff like that.
Okay, what about like money management and things like that as well? Is that how it works?
There's stuff all around to do with money management, and they kind of give you a quoted course at the beginning when you sign in your documents about how do you manage your money and stuff like that.
Okay. And this is an ongoing support system, isn't it? Until you can get back into, obviously, independent living, yeah? Okay, understood that. Now, what's the conditions like in the house?
It's like being in your own home.
Okay.
Quite literally.
You get a room?
Your room. You have a communal area. You got a kitchen. You got toilet facilities.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff you get in here, you don't really get in most other places.
Right.
Like a communal toilet there. I wouldn't even call it a toilet. I'd call it a shanty put together. Really?
Yeah. That bad?
You flush the chain, and in one place I was in, you flush the chain and it'll flood the bathroom downstairs.
My goodness me. That's really bad. There's some really bad conditions. So there's a massive difference between living in a house and living on the streets and sleeping rough. But anybody that's watching this, right? I'd assume majority of people that are going to be watching this live in a house. And they've got access to the internet, hence the reason why they're watching this video in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. What would you say when they see there's a lot of people? You put something together when you was in jail.
Yeah.
Which to me makes a lot of sense when we're talking about homeless people. Do you want to tell us how you've differentiated between these homeless people?
Well, basically I was asked to put a piece together in prison to deal with the homeless world, because we had 3 topics to pick from: finances, life and homeless, and I picked option 3.
Yeah.
Because obviously I've been through it. But I was asked to give my whole view. So I set it out into 3 bullet points with a short paragraph on what those 3 bullet points are about. Okay. And like that, in the homeless world, there are 3 types of homeless people out there. Bullet point number 1, the first type of homeless person is a person who is forced into homelessness by a life-changing event, or losing their home, family, and losing their self-worth.
So would you say you fall into that category?
I fall into option one.
Okay.
Now, out there, as I've noticed on the streets myself, especially a lot of people who beg, they fall into the second type of homeless person, which is a person who has made themselves homeless through drugs and their way of life. Drug addiction, homeless people are those who put drugs addiction above everything else in their life. So
would you say that point number 2 was the majority of homeless people in the UK?
Especially a lot of them who live in Birmingham city centre at the moment.
And would you agree to this statement that it's easy to stay outdoors, to beg, and once you got your £5 or £10, you then use that same corner that you're begging from to make a phone call to the drug dealer who comes along, gives you the drug, so everything's in one place, very, very easy, accessible. Then
and you'll find that some of the homeless people ain't really homeless people, they're pretending to be homeless, they're actually drug dealers.
Ah, okay. Fill me in. What's that all about then?
What they do is they'll go out to, like, they'll get somebody to go out who's already homeless and get, you know, clothes from something like Ladywood Project and that, get them washed, and then they'll wear them and walk around town. They don't beg or nothing. They go around and they do the what's eye up to people, letting them know that they're in town. So they'll actually look like a homeless person, but it's not. It's actually a dealer in disguise.
Really?
So that the people who buy Mambra, heroin and crack and ring him and he can appear to his business and go without looking out of place. So
okay.
I've got a little bit smarter.
Right. Okay.
Especially with Big Brother.
Right. So these homeless people, they find it easy. There's the beg there and the dealer's there. Everything's there at their disposal, and they sit outside and they'll either smoke the Mamba or they'll inject themselves with heroin.
Most people have stopped smoking crack now because it's they find that Mamba is much easier, much readily available.
I mean, I've seen people on Mamba, and it looks like somebody who's just zoned out. Yeah. Looks like a zombie.
I was spiked in prison with a roll up, and somebody says to me when I came around in healthcare, one of the other people who was on my wing said, "You look like the Mamba monkey." Okay. Which is a phrase they use for people.
Yeah.
When they've spiked them.
Yeah. People OD on this stuff, don't they?
Yes. Well, my 3.5 years in total in prison, I've watched 24 to 25 people die.
Wow.
Because you see them go to healthcare, then you see an ambulance, then you see the hearse.
Understood. What about number 3? What have you got for number 3? What's your third kind of person?
Right, number 3, the third type of homeless person, is quite a typical one, but you have to be careful to actually see them. It's a homeless person you see them go to healthcare, then you see an ambulance, then you see the hearse.
Understood. What about number 3? What have you got for number 3? What's your third kind of person?
Right, number 3, the third type of homeless person, is quite a typical one, but you have to be careful to actually see them. It's a homeless person who pretends to be homeless to beg for money out of greed and to return to their normal working home life after.
Okay. Explain to me, how does that work?
Right, one incident when I was with my ex, we'd come back from work and we had to pop into town. And I seen, he looked like a tramp at first, this black dude begging. And then like, when we come out and finish shopping a couple of hours later, I watched this man go around the corner, take off his homeless outfit, put his suit on, fix his hair, pull out his BMW keys, put his money in his pocket, and get his BMW and drove off.
So you're saying that this guy, as a profession, begs?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Some of them do it out of greed, because, you know, obviously their work money is being used for bills and that, so, you know, they figured out that they can beg out of greed.
Okay, so how lucrative would you say this business is?
The begging business nowadays is a very lucrative business. People would rather beg.
Right. Would you? I mean, from experience, what we've spoken to people, this could be 120 to 140 £140 a day even.
Oh, there's a dude I know. He lived in the property I just came from. He's on ESA. He gets about 300 to 400 every 2 weeks. He still goes out and begs with his dog.
Yeah.
For his drug habit.
He's not homeless. He used to live in the shared accommodation with you.
Well, it wasn't shared accommodation. It was 4 individual old houses split into 6 rooms. Sorry,
go on. Sorry.
And basically, like, he'll go out and he'll beg just for the extra money, because when he gets his money, what most typical people do, they'll either borrow it on drugs or a night out, and then the next morning they wake up and they're like, oh crap, I'm out of money. And most people will either go and borrow off these, companies, but most of these smart people who have been in the world obviously a little bit longer, Go and dress like a tramp, get aboard, make money.
Okay. And Birmingham is quite littered with these people, isn't it?
Yes.
Would you say that the people that we're looking at on the roundabouts,
100 are class 3s, and the other 40-50% are the first and second class. You have to be very, very careful.
Right.
Because these people speak the jargon to you, but you have to watch.
Right. Understood. Right, Aaron, thanks ever so much for your time, mate. We appreciate it, and we wish you're in a better place very, very soon. Thanks a lot. Thank you.